So while the thumbnail might be misleading, a little bit over the top, we do have talk about Brian Kilmeade, who did say something on the air, recorded, although it was sort of a side comment in another comment, that got missed by many places, except for a couple of smaller YouTube shout out type folks and people who listen to him like myself. So I heard it, I processed it, and figured nothing would happen the way it processed. No one really made a big deal about it at the time, although it was something said that made you scratch your head. Now, what actually happened on Fox and Friends, the episode for September 10th, Brian Kilmeade was discussing a tragic stabbing of the Ukrainian woman on the bus that was, or the train, I should say, that was Iryna Zarutska, and allegedly committed by a homeless man with mental illness, Decarlos Brown Jr. We know that. Essentially, we see the video. If you haven't seen it, don't look for it. It's pretty gruesome. This was a segment with co-host Lawrence Jones complaining about public funds that are being spent on mental health and homeless programs that some people refuse, i.e., there are people in the homeless camps that are in the streets who don't want the help. And I know that personally because I happen to work with a church that does a lot of great things for homeless encampments and homeless people. And sometimes the big issue is getting them to show up and take their meds. It really is them in a case. In response to that, in the conversation back and forth, basically when Jones was talking about, they should be locked up, sent away someplace, Kilmeade dropped out or voluntarily lethal injection or something. Just kill them. Just in a thing. Now, they were casual, but they quickly caused some backlash among critics who paid attention. Critics of homeless advocates, and of course, critics like homeless advocates and politicians and mental health organizations basically called what he said humane and decried Kilmeade's language as dangerous. Some actually compared it to rhetoric used in authoritarian or extremist context. That may sound familiar. But on Fox and Friends weekend, they actually had a little Sunday edition with Kilmeade where he issued an apology. He said his remarks were extremely callous and that he was wrong in suggesting that lethal injections should happen to homeless folks. He clarified that he understands that not all mentally ill homeless people have that type of personality, and that people accused of the Charlotte case specifically emphasized that many deserve empathy and support going forward. Now, here's what's happening. The incident actually raises several issues. One being the homelessness issues, which is a big issue around the nation. Others around media rhetoric and the fact that some words by some people who should be word their words are tossed around a bit too liberally, if you will. Homelessness and mental illness are treated as public discourse where we can talk about it, but when the kind of speech given like this, maybe we should kill them because there's no place for them to go, it gets a little bit heated. The acceptability of such type of high-profile media folks saying things like this back in the day would get someone, canceled. But because cancellation is such a trigger word these days, word on purpose, it's something where people can say what they want to as long as there's some context. The context of this was terrible. If you heard it in context, you'd know it didn't make any sense. There's no question that what was said was bad. An apology was needed. Of course, the calls for his firing, that may be a bit over the top, but we have what we have here. Now, some public officials initially condemned the comments pretty much off the bat, including Governor of California Gavin Newsom, who has his own problems dealing with the biblical language that was used, the verse that was attached, and his own problems with homelessness as he's trying to eliminate homeless encampments in California himself. Advocate groups, of course, invited Kilmeade to volunteer, engage with folks, and see what's going on. That's a great thing to do. I don't think he had necessarily any ill will in his words. Well, he had ill will in his words, but not so much in his heart. The whole issue with the homeless is a big issue, and it is pretty simple. If there are people who have no place to go and you want them gone, where do they go? It's simple. You don't have an answer to that question because some of them are literally just on bad times and need a little help to get back on their feet. Some of them have mental illness issues and they are voluntarily living this way because they can't function in society properly. It is the case. It is true. But what happens with that? Where do they go? That's a good question. Where did it go? Kilmeade apologized, recognized the seriousness of his words and the callousness of the way they popped up there in the conversation, and will do his best for a little while to watch his words. He also has the graciousness of being endorsed by one Donald J. Trump, so he can get away with other words when Trump can get away with the same words as well. Why Trump gets away with them? Because he's Trump. But even with the apology, some see the initial suggestion of kill them all as harmful, as insensitive, and unfortunately, an idea that some people may want to run with, which is the hard part of this.